Back home, the COVID pandemic is over, but there are still enormous challenges for Middle Australia: rising interest rates, costs of living and so on. For many, it means they need to be smarter in the way they market themselves and their businesses. Joining me now is marketing expert, speaker and author Amanda Stevens. Good morning, Amanda. It's tough out there for so many, isn't it?
Morning, Tim. It totally is. I mean, this latest interest rate rise, I think this is the one that has really hurt and has got people really worried. I mean, we know that cost of living is already the number one concern. It's keeping Middle Australia awake at night. And so I think, this one has really hurt. And the concern is that if this continues, the flow-on effect that it's going to have on Middle Australia, those who are trying to get into the property market, those that have a mortgage, it's really concerning. And I'll tell you that, speaking to consumers on a weekly basis, if Philip Lowe could sit in some of my research groups, he might not be so trigger happy on interest rates.
Yeah, and there's so many things happening in the economy, so many things happening in our society which are different to what they were 3 years ago. This quick rise of millennials as consumers.
Yeah, so millennials, we now make up the largest proportion of Australia. 5.4 million Australians fall into that category. And we are coming out of a pandemic. We've got, some very unique economic factors happening that are contributing to societal issues. We've got rising domestic violence. We've got a housing crisis. We've got youth crime, as we just heard. And so we've got these really unique things that are happening. Interest rate rises is, my concern. And I get there's inflation issues interest rate rises is a surefire way. It's a blunt force tactic to control inflation. But I'm no economist, but I just wonder if there are some other things that we could be doing other than interest rate rises, which is hurting people that are already hurting. My question is, at what cost?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what about baby boomers, the extension of baby boomers and how their needs and priorities are changing?
Yeah, absolutely. Baby boomers, while they have been overtaken by millennials in terms of numbers, we can't discount them. Obviously, they're living longer. As we say, 70 is the new 55. So we're seeing that people are wanting to live longer, are living longer, and are wanting to live well. So, the interest rate rises has a unique impact on baby boomers as well. So I think looking forward, what are some other things that can be done to control inflation other than a 13th, 14th and 15th interest rate hike, which I think would be disastrous for Australia, for Middle Australia?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, changing tack a little bit and just looking at the workplace as it looks to us now after the pandemic, more people working from home, the significance and focus, a lot of people look at workplace wellness.
Yeah, workplace wellness we know is a huge trend that people are wanting to have better balance. I think coming out of COVID, a lot of people, me included, really reassessed what we wanted life to look like. We know that more people are working from home, that we're wanting more balance, and we're seeing some really interesting trends come out of that. For example, home infrared saunas are up 20%. So we're certainly wanting to live better, live more, really focus on our wellness and achieve that balance that perhaps a lot of people weren't that focused on prior to COVID.
And people have started to be quite creative in the way that they've been marketing their business. We saw it during the pandemic. We saw the rise of words like nimble and pivot and flexibility.
Absolutely. I don't like the pivot word. I think we're all sick of that word, but a lot of people had to pirouette into new things during COVID. So we're seeing the rise of online learning, for example, is a huge booming business, and online shopping. 1.36 million Australian households made their first online purchase during 2020, and we're certainly not seeing that contract anytime soon. So we're certainly seeing that the e-commerce sector is booming because we're all now very comfortable with online shopping. So I think we're going to certainly see some interesting evolutions of those kind of sectors as well.
What about AI? We had a big discussion with a professor in Canada this morning about AI. It is just changing in front of our eyes.
it is changing day by day. And, some of the implications of AI are quite frightening, but in terms of our ability to be more productive and to, market our businesses more effectively, I think that AI has some really exciting implications for people to, start businesses, to grow their businesses and to be more productive.
And we're always conscious of cybersecurity. Look, I think some of the defence mechanisms that organisations are putting into place are helping a lot, but it's still out there and it's a constant threat.
Cybercrime is, interestingly, when we look at the issues that Australians are concerned about, we look at the Roy Morgan data and the JWS research data. It shows that cost of living, no doubt, is number one, and it's the fastest growing issue that's keeping Australians awake at night. But creeping into that list is cybersecurity. More and more Australians, obviously, with the cyber attacks that we've had recently that have affected a lot of Australians. It's certainly something that is top of mind. And so, online security and identity security is certainly something that we should be more and more concerned about. And certainly big business is investing more and more in that because it is such a big issue.
It is a wonderful world, but it's a tricky old world right at the moment. Amanda, great to have you on the program. Let's get you back sometime real soon.